Well, baby boomers are retiring in droves, and many wandering into uncharted territory, facing challenges that no other generation has really encountered before. The team at Legacy Retirement Group knows very well what today's retirees are coping with. Greg Taylor, president of Legacy and host of Winning Retirement Radio, is joining me once again this morning. And Greg, I want to ask you, is there an estimate on how many people are retiring every day?
Oh goodness, there's thousands retiring every single day. And they're all facing a new challenge. It's a transition, and the old rules simply don't apply anymore.
Don't apply anymore. All right. With so many people then settling into retirement, I imagine there are some trends taking place, especially with this generation. So what would you say is the biggest trend today?
Well, one of the biggest trends is people are living longer. I mean, think about it. The 80 today is the new 60. I mean,
right.
it really is.
Yeah.
I mean, we have clients that are in their 80s, they're active, they're busy, they're traveling, they're planning things, they're planning vacations, time with their grandkids and families, and they're having the ball, you know, in their 80s. And even some folks in their 90s are still very, very active.
Okay, so we like that we're living longer, but of course that means you need more money to then have your lifestyle, right?
Well, that's exactly right. Think about it. You maybe spent 40 years working towards retirement, and now a lot of people have 30 to 40 years in retirement. So, and just that longevity itself breeds a lot of challenges. One, because people are living so long, more people are entering nursing homes, needing home care in their older years. But that's not the fun part. The fun part is planning on how we're going to have a spending plan that will allow us to enjoy the lifestyle that we've envisioned without the worry of running out of money. And that's a huge, huge challenge, because right now today, think about how many companies are offering company pensions to their employees. Those are becoming few and far between.
Sure.
So people have to rely on things like their 401ks and IRAs to see them through.
Okay, there is another trend, and this is something that you term do-it-yourself retirement planning. So what do you mean by that?
Well, it is a do-it-yourself plan. Why? Because it's up to you now to be disciplined enough to save into a 401k, into an IRA, into a Roth IRA, into some type of plan that's going to be there. We call it the pile of money you're going to need, right? And having that available so that you can make sure that you won't run out during your lifetime. And so not only are you a do-it-yourselfer with how you have to save, but typically people end up being do-it-yourselfers as to how they're going to make that money last. That can be scary.
And there is another trend that really is a result of those first two, and that is that people are then working longer.
That's true. A lot of people, really, what we're seeing a lot is people transition careers. So they may retire from their company because maybe they just can't do anymore physically, or they're kind of at the end of the rope,
sure,
mentally and emotionally.
It happens.
But then they're transitioning into something else. We just met with a lady who is now in her upper 60s and just finishing up her real estate course to get a real estate license and start a new career in her life now that she's retired as a pharmacist. So I mean, we run into this all the time.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so in decades past, we know that most retirees kind of left the workforce with their house, their cars, their loans, everything paid off. Is that still the case that we're seeing?
Not at all, because even now we find people in as late as their 70s changing where they live, buying a condominium somewhere, maybe having a couple of places, the Snowbird property down south somewhere, and then the property they've lived in for years here. And we're finding that people have mortgage debt. With mortgage interest rates so low, a lot of people come to the conclusion, why pay this off when rates are so low? And then as they're trying to save, one trend that I've seen is a lot of parents now have college debt from their children.
Yep, absolutely.
So student loans, and they're trying to pay them off. It's a real problem. And then they're trying to weigh all this stuff against what the stock market's going to do, the risk and the volatility that really we didn't see in the 80s and 90s. There was a lot of consistency with the markets. In today's generation, there's a lot of volatility and a lot of things to really be planning for and be concerned about.
All right, Greg, of course, your team can help people navigate these waters. Greg is not going anywhere. In fact, up next, Kristen is joining us with a little couples perspective on planning for retirement.